computer will do our thinking now. Oh, $5,000 for a computer and it can't handle a simple assignment.
Hey, we've got a problem here.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay.
Houston, we have a problem.
We'll do it live! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
The computers are down! Attack!
Everything is going extremely well.
I just want to put pictures of my cat on everyone's internet computer. Like, how do I do that?
We've lost intelligence! I repeat, we have no intelligence!
We seem to be experimenting some technological differences.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Here's the deal. In true fashion with Project Archivist, everything that could go wrong this week has gone wrong.
Welcome to another episode of Murphy's Law.
Absolutely. This is our Thanksgiving. My God. What the hell? Jesus.
Oh, we're eating, sort of.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a talk about food. This is our Valentines episode where we go back to true crime. And this week we have R.A. Brewster returning to the show because he was working out a bunch of true crime stuff. And I'm like, all right, yeah, let's, if you've got something in the works, let's put something together. We had to reschedule because of weird conflicting scheduling issues. His computer broke a couple of hours ago. Your computer broke as we were going on the air.
Yeah.
So you're on the phone with Skype right now, phoning in. The problems that we had last week's show turned out that it wasn't either one of our computers. It was my internet provider had a problem that went down. Something weird was happening with it. And the whole time I thought it was something to do with Skype. So I updated to the latest version of Skype, which blows monkey balls. So as a result, I don't know entirely how well this show is going to come out. So just bear with us until we get things kind of sort of tuned back in, because now Lobo doesn't have a computer.
Oh, dude. And you know what? Today, today's the 10th.
Yes.
It did my Microsoft Security Essentials updated right before we started the recording, and everything is fucked now.
Mine,
literally everything is fucked.
Mine did as well, but it's not giving me the problems. But Skype is giving me weird audio issue problems, so I'm not even sure how audio is going to come out. I haven't produced the show yet, but I will tell you this. There is a point during this interview that for a couple of seconds, my microphone died and recording stopped, and then it started right back up again. So there may be a weird jump in here as we're talking about. There's a strange gap in here that I'm going to try my ass off to try to fix as best as I can. But I'm just warning you, we don't know how well this show is going to go. At all, because in the last couple of weeks, everything has just gotten really, really weird for us. So anyways, having said that, Brewster's coming back on the show. I just call him Brewster instead of Robert. It's just easier for me. I'm sorry, no disrespect intended. So we're going to talk about several. The idea was to talk about female serial killers who end up killing their spouses or their mates or all these things in different ways. And as we normally do, this conversation gets real sidetracked to where Lobo gives us a lesson on poisonings and zinc coffins. And then we go off into this weird side tangent at the end talking about these two serial killers that worked together and killed families for
literally
for sex bunkers and just bizarre stuff. Anyways, this is just a really, really weird show. So bear with us and we'll see you guys at the other side.
Yay!
So very rarely do we have a returning guest come back so quickly, but you were a big hit last time you were on here, and you do a lot of true crime stuff. So we have R.A. Brewster from rabrewster.com returning with us. And you do all kinds of stuff on your blog. You do your creature features. You've been covering a lot more true crime lately. And every year, as we are apt to do at Valentine's Day, we like to cover serial killers. And this year I decided that we were going to tune in on female serial killers that kill their husbands and just do really freaky shit. So you were like, yeah, let's do this. And then behind the scenes, everything that could possibly go wrong has gone wrong.
You're not wrong. It's been rough.
Your computer literally died today. Lobo's just died moments ago because Lobo is with us on phone right now through Skype.
Sort of. I fucking can't. I can't.
So we're just going to try to roll with this and see what we can do. But we were talking about covering Catherine Knight. She's interesting on many levels. So where do you want to start with her?
Well, the thing with the Knight too is she seems, and one of the weird things about her too is that she's kind of recent, and she's one of the few female serial killers that are very physical. A lot of them like to use poison or strangulate, like when a person is already incapacitated. No, she was a big fan of knives.
Yeah, she was kind of hands-on, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, she was really to get in there and get dirty with it, and she did. Quite a few times. Well, not quite a few times, but she really started to show a lot of pathological problems in several different relationships that she's had. Like I think I mentioned before, I think it was her first husband. She attacked him bad enough for the police to be involved because he wouldn't make love to her for a third time.
In a row.
On their wedding night. Yeah.
In a row.
Well,
In a row?
She was just like, you only got 2 in you? Well, then she whooped his ass. And I'm like, whoa.
Well, a little back history.
Into it.
She's from Australia, and she was born October 24th of 1955. And then I believe she was sentenced to prison on October of 2001. So that's the span frame that took place. But yeah, she said she used to sleep with knives over her bed or something like that.
Yes, she as a kid, she actually had an affinity for knives in general. She was found several times to sleep with them, like under her pillow, or to always be kind of armed in a way. As she got older, she would actually sleep with knives suspended from strings above her bed, kind of like a chandelier.
That's hot.
Yeah, yeah.
No, until they give way and fall on you.
Silly, yeah.
Wouldn't that freak you out? You walk into a chick's room and then there's knives just hanging over her bed.
No, wouldn't
yeah,
freak me out at all.
Yeah, it would. Okay, maybe not.
My ex Denise was weird like that. She slept with knives under her pillow.
Anyways,
just rolling that. What's the roll that? Let that roll on.
Sorry, I told you I've lived a very strange past.
So she only killed one person though, correct? She only killed one husband though.
That's been affirmed, yeah.
Okay. How many does she believe to have killed, or do you know that number?
I don't know it right offhand, but the thing is she was sexually assaulted a lot when she was younger by members of her own family. And I think right around when she was in high school, there were incidences of her being physical and violent towards the opposite sex, hypersexual, all the different stuff. So it could easily be conceivable that the man that she did kill was not her first victim.
Mm-hmm. She slashed somebody's face, from what I remember.
Yeah, I think that when she was in 15 or something, she attacked a teacher. Mm-hmm. Claimed it was in self-defense, said he was trying to rape her. And then I think there were reports, and I'll have to run through my own brain here for just 2 seconds on that one.
Those are shades of Eileen Wuornos.
Yes, shades of Eileen Wuornos. That's a good one.
On her Wikipedia, a man known as in the district as Old Ted, who was foraging around near the railroad line, found and rescued Melissa, by all accounts, only minutes before the train had passed. Knight was arrested and again taken to St. Elmo's Hospital, but apparently recovered, signed herself out the following day. A few days later, Knight slashed the face of a woman with one of her knives and managed to drive her to Queensland to kill it. The woman escaped after they stopped at a service station, but by the time the police arrived, Knight had taken a young boy hostage and was threatening him with a knife. There we go again with the knife.
She loves the knives.
She was disarmed when the police attacked her with brooms, and she was admitted to Morisset Psychiatric Hospital. Knight told the nurses she had intended to kill the mechanic at the service station because he had repaired Killett's car, which had allowed him to leave. Killett must have been her first husband, from what I understand here. Yeah, David Killett was her first husband, and he had left. So she was going to go to the service station to kill the mechanic who fixed her first husband's car, allowing him to get away from Crazy Wacko Bitch.
Wow!
Knight told the nurses she had intended to kill the mechanic at the service station because he had repaired Killett's car, which had allowed him to leave and then kill both her husband and his mother when she arrived in Queensland. When police informed Killett of this incident, he left his girlfriend and moved to Aberdeen with his mother's support. with his mother's support to Knight. Knight was released August 9th of 1976 into the care of her mother-in-law. Oh, you tried to kill my son, so I'm going to take care of you. And along with Killett, they now moved to Woodbridge. I guess they stayed together.
I would not letting that lady move in my house. What is
no kidding. A suburb of Brisbane, where she obtained a job in the Dinmore Meatworks. What a great place for her to work.
She'd get used to those knives, wouldn't she?
Smell the blood. Look at that.
In nearby Ipswich, on March 6th of 1980, they had another daughter. You have kids with this woman. This is all bad.
Oh, yeah.
Natasha Maree, M-A-R-E-E. So I'm going to say it's probably Mary. In 1984, Knight left Killett and moved in, first with her parents in Aberdeen, then to rent a house nearby in Muswell Brook. I'm so sorry, Australian listeners. Although
you're not.
She returned to work at the abattoir. She injured her back the following year and went on disability pension. No longer needing the rent accommodation close to her work, the government gave her a housing commission house in Aberdeen. So that is how the marriage to her first husband ended badly. She slashed a woman's face, went to a mechanic, tried to kill him because the husband tried to leave.
They had more kids together.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads into David Saunders too, which was the guy I was trying to remember.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This dude should have ran like literally immediately after this woman. Like she met him in 1986. And I think it was a year later, she cut a 2-month-old dingo pup's throat in front of him just to let him know that if you ever cheat on me, this is going to happen to you. And then she knocked him out with a frying pan just to drive it home. Like, I know you think you're innocent, but bam, I just want you to know, don't even drop.
This is so not funny that I'm laughing at it. So she kills a dingo, which is basically a dog. That dingo ate my baby. But sorry again, folks.
Wow. Dude, he's not sorry. Stop listening to him.
So she kills a dingo, and then she takes a frying pan and knocks the guy out after doing this.
And he hasn't even had an affair.
He hasn't done anything yet.
You're just letting him know this is what's going to occur.
Overly attached girlfriend meme here. Okay, so go ahead.
That's not it. That's not overly attached, bro. That's psychotic.
That's like, I want to live inside your skin because I want to be close to you.
So continue. Go on.
But I think with too is like, and that kind of, and from here, this is, thank God I came across it because I was trying to trigger memory. This is where she kind of played into that whole like a little bit of Ed Gein kind of stuff going on. Like her whole house was plastered in like animal skins, skulls, again, more machetes, and just like these not like vintage kind of like murder tools, but a lot of sharp objects with a lot of dead things.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Rustic. Going for the rustic look.
Very rustic. Yeah.
Okay. I'm
feeling a little Vlad the Impaler, it's a really good motif.
There's certain men that are into hunting and stuff that would probably be into that, but they would probably walk out when they cut the dingo's throat and get cracked over the head with a frying pan. That would probably do it for most men.
I think the frying pan.
And those are the men that she doesn't want.
What, Lobo? You got cut off. What'd you say?
I think the frying pan would have been the deal breaker.
Yeah, that would have ended it. So
she had with the knife chandelier, but the frying pan just doesn't do it for him.
She had a kid with him too, didn't she?
Steel swung at me.
Oh God!
Oh Jesus!
Dude, knives are hot, but a frying pan, dude, ain't
knives are hot. So you're all about a chick waving a knife at you, but you draw the line at frying pans.
I was like, it's too round. It's too dull. It doesn't do anything for me.
Me personally, my thing's toasters. If a chick comes after me with a toast, I can deal with knives and frying pans. You come at me with a toaster or something, I'm done.
Hit with a frying pan? Dude, he hurt a lot.
A knife kind of hurts a bit too. I mean,
dude, there's no give in cast iron at all.
Well, she hit him in the face with a frying pan, and then I think she stabbed him in the stomach with a pair of scissors.
See, scissors.
He got the double dose there. Like,
and then he moved back, and then he said, "All right, I'm done with this chick," and then he left her. But he had a daughter with her as well. She had her third kid with the guy.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was too. And I think the police found him for a night. He was trying desperately to get him back, and the police were like, "No, he is terrified of you. You are never allowed to come near him again." And then gave her like a restraining order.
So then she marries another guy, John Chillington, and it says here in 1990, Knight became pregnant by a 43-year-old former abattoir. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yes.
Abattoir co-worker John Chillington, and gave birth to yet another kid the following year to a boy named
should
Eric.
Be cranking out babies, man. This should not be.
This relationship did better. It lasted for 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And no one got hit with a frying pan. Like,
so she ended up having an affair on that guy with a guy named John Price. But that guy got out of it pretty well unscathed. He just broke up with her after 3 years. No stabbings.
He got old.
Yeah, exactly. No frying pans, no dead dingoes, nothing like that. Do you want to cover John Price, Brewster, or you want me to?
No, yeah, that's fine. If you want me to, that's fine. Because Price did not luck out.
No, Price ended badly.
Yeah.
This is where it gets weird.
This is where it gets like, wow, this came to a natural conclusion when you look at it all put together.
No, it's not natural.
Oh, okay. So basically, she marries Price, and everybody that knew Price was like, "Hey, this is pretty cool. He's a really nice guy." This chick's kind of insane, though. Why are you marrying her? And then it didn't last very long. They ended like that same year or something like that. They had a 2-year-old daughter, and they were kind of going through this whole back and forth. The children really liked her as a person, but it became one of those, like, your mom's kind of insane, because they started to fight over different videotapes being taken, items being removed around the home. And when Price really tried to rekindle things, they started fighting more often. All of a sudden, Knight stabs him in the chest.
Yikes.
Yeah, and this did it for him. Like, the stabbing in the chest, this is too much. Get the hell out of my house, okay? And after he goes to try to get a restraining order on her, all this different stuff occurs. And if I'm not mistaken, she goes and gets like some sexy negligees, something really erotic to wear for him, and tempts him to let her back into his life.
It'll take more than that.
Well, not for Price, because he does.
You're a dope. You deserve to die.
Yeah,
but she was in a negligee.
I don't give a shit.
Hey, she's pumping out 3 kids. She must be doing something right.
She's not that attractive either.
No, she really wasn't.
They're in the outback. There's lonely nights.
All they got's dingoes out there.
Dingoes and kangaroos.
And that dude from Wolf Creek, who was also really kind of ugly.
Kinda. Kind.
If you're into some people like that, he had a bit of a nose to him, very Romanesque.
Yeah, I love Quasimodo. He's hot.
He had a good soul.
Yeah, you know what? A soul only goes so far, homie.
It was up or down, really, when you think about it.
So, anyways.
But
yeah, she said that, from what I'm reading, she got into a fight with the guy because he didn't want to marry her. So she went around the house videotaping items that he had stolen.
Yeah,
and sent the videotape to his boss
to try and blackmail him into loving you more, I guess. But what ended up
why won't you love me?
Yes, what's wrong with me? I know we got these knives and they got your blood on them, but really, it's your fault.
Totally.
When you think about it.
You made this happen.
This is right. This is your fault. But ultimately, it culminated in him or her murdering him. And if I'm not mistaken, cooking pieces of his body after he was skinned.
Yeah.
And
she hung him upside down, skinned him, processed him, cooked him, and was going to feed him to the kids.
With some vegetables, steamed vegetables, because that's healthy.
You got to have your veg.
That's right. But I think they were set up to come visit. And if I'm not mistaken, she had placards, little nameplates laid out for them. And very fancy meal of their own father.
Well, that's at least she planned ahead.
So basically the cops showed up and prevented her from serving the meal to the kids.
And they found the body of Price, which was she had posed in very provocative ways. Because I think she had put Price's head in a pot so that it was simmering.
Again, with people eating heads, what is the deal with people? We've had this conversation before. It's like people want to have sex with heads. They want to eat heads. There probably are better things on the human body to eat with more meat in them. There's not a lot of meat on a human head, I would think. If we're going to talk cannibalism, you're talking a lot of tendons and things like that. It just does not I mean, when I think cannibalism, I don't think about eating a person's head. It's not God, I'd like to eat your head. That's just not, I don't know. I'm sane. So
how often do you think of cannibalism?
That's what I was just going to say. I don't think about cannibalism
Quite
very
often,
often.
apparently.
But when but in those moments where I do think about eating a person, I don't look at them and say, God, I'd really like to eat your head.
Yeah. And maybe that's because we're sane people.
I guess.
But like, you look into your girlfriend's eyes and you're just like, man, I want to pop those out like grapes.
Apparently, when they did the autopsy on him, they found out that Price had been stabbed 37 times. Both the front and back of his body, with many wounds extending into vital organs. Several hours after Price had died, Knight skinned him and hung the skin from a meat hook in the architrave of a door. Architrave? Whatever. Architrave.
Like where you hang your coat on the back of the door.
Okay, yeah. In the lounge room. She then decapitated him and cooked his body parts, serving up the meat with baked potato, pumpkin, beetroot, zucchini, and cabbage, yellow squash, and gravy into 2 settings at the dinner table. I see nothing about Chianti beans and fava beans and some Chianti.
Chianti and fava beans.
Yeah, I see nothing about that.
Chianti beans would be pretty tasty too, though.
Along with notes beside each plate. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, Rob, but it's just in front of me. It's so bizarre.
It's fascinating too. Yeah,
having the name of one of Price's children on it. She was preparing to serve the body parts to his children. A third meal was thrown in the back lawn for unknown reasons. It is speculated the Knight had attempted to eat it, but could not. And this has been put forward in support of her claim that she has no memory of the crime. Price's head was found in a pot with vegetables. The pot was still warm, estimated between 40 and 50 degrees Celsius, or 104 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit, for us Americans who are the only people in the world who still use the regular system and not the metric system, as I refer to it, to the regular system. Go figure. Indicating that the cooking had taken place in the early morning. Sometime later, Knight arranged the body with the left arm draped over an empty 1.25-liter soft drink bottle with the legs crossed. So she gave him a soft drink bottle phallus. Okay. This was claimed in court to be an act of defilement, demonstrating Knight's contempt for Price. Knight had left a handwritten note on top of the photograph of Price, bloodstained and covered with small pieces of flesh, and the note read, "Time you got back, Jonathan, for raping my daughter," whatever. "You back Price's daughter for Ross. For little John, now play with little John's dick, John Price." The note doesn't make any damn sense at all, but okay. So, yeah, she was
like alphabet soup.
Exactly. She was the first person to ever be given a life sentence in Australia in 2001.
Cool.
Oh yeah, like her lack of remorse too, because she never once tried to say that or show any kind of like sadness for what she'd done. She even in that note tried to make it seem that she had done all of this because John Price had actually sexually assaulted her daughter. Mm-hmm. And of course that was proven not to be true. Yeah.
She said in here that she tried to appeal her sentence, claiming that the penalty for life in prison without possibility of parole was too severe for the killing.
What? I think it was apropos for the killing, actually.
I think it pretty much goes like hand in hand with like cutting off a man's head and trying to feed it to his kids.
But the appeal was dismissed. New South Wales Court criminal appeal in September. Yeah, they appealed it. They said, "No, you're nutty as a fruitcake. You belong in there for what you've done." So yeah.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
So
I think she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder.
That's it.
Obviously. Yeah.
It's a grave disservice. I know people that have borderline personality disorder, and they don't go around chopping people up. Not that I know of, at least.
It's not borderline anymore. She went over a line at this point.
So who are we moving on to next?
Oh, we can do a little Vera Winchesi if everybody's cool with that.
Go right ahead. Yeah. That's one I do not know anything about.
Vera is fascinating. Woo! She's beautiful. She was actually originally, now this is where some of the reports are different. It's kind of, in a way, nebulous because she's either Hungarian or Romanian or Yugoslavian. No matter which way you kind of play into it. Yeah, it's one of those weird things where no one could pin down her exact origin. But all of her crimes happened in a town in Burkle. I'm going to totally butcher it, but it's Burkle, and that's kind of in our old Yugoslavia at the time. She eventually got married to a beautiful businessman, bore him a son. named Lorenzo, who plays a key part in what ended up happening later. And this businessman decided that being an affluent, wealthy man himself, he could kind of go out and dally a bit with some of the pretty ladies. Vera found out about that, and all of a sudden he disappeared.
Like you do.
Like you do, yeah. She kept telling people, oh, he's gone off. He just left me. He left me all alone to take care of my son by myself. I'm a poor woman who could really use a little male companionship. So she started reaching out, and the boys started piling up, and then they started piling up, but in a much different way. Literally, yeah. She started to target young, affluent, married men, wooing them secretly, bringing them to her home, and then cooking them dinner, which was laced with strychnine. And some reports differ on this, but it's all kind of just assumed because of Lorenzo's testimony that she actually would sit down and, like a villain in some cartoon movie, reveal her entire plot to murder this guy as he's lying on the floor writhing in agony.
She'd monologue.
It's like, did you enjoy the soup, you cheating bastard? Because this is what gets you here. Yeah.
She would monologue like a Bond movie.
Awesome.
Just monologue him to death, basically.
Now,
Stop talking.
Lobo, what do you know about strychnine?
What do you want to know?
How much is it like a low? Do you need a little bit of it or a lot of it to kill somebody? Is it one of those kind of things where you don't need a lot?
By weight, typically. You don't need a ton of it to kill someone, but you can slowly poison it. People can build up a tolerance to strychnine, too.
Yeah.
Over time. I mean, it ravages your liver, kidneys. It'll settle in on your brain. But all in all, I mean, you can build up a tolerance to it. It's not recommended. There were people in medieval times, the courtiers, that would take small doses of strychnine so that if they were ever, quote-unquote, poisoned, it wouldn't kill them.
Right.
Because they built a tolerance to it.
Doesn't
it's
it
not
lead
good.
to, like, severe nerve damage, too?
Oh, my God, yeah. If
Yeah.
you take it in a large dose, you'll be shot. But if you take it over a few grains at a time, over an extended period of time, your nervous system will eventually start to fail, but not as if you were given a lethal dose all at once. It's not like arsenic. Arsenic, I mean, you can have really, really small doses of arsenic without it killing you.
Right.
But typically, arsenic is given in a dose where
you're not coming back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's apple seeds have small, very minute doses of traces of arsenic in them. Peach pits have any of the stone fruit have very, very slight amounts of arsenic in it.
And arsenic is the one that comes out in your hair and in your fingernails after you're dead. It still continues to
do.
Okay.
They all do. Do you think you really know arsenic over strychnine, other than like the physical attributes? Is arsenic smells of bitter almonds?
Mm-hmm.
Strychnine is still odorless, I believe.
It is, yeah. They tried to put an odoring in it, but for what it's being used for, there's no real reason to put an odor in it.
Yeah. It's in like different like pesticide poisons, I think.
Yeah, they're trying to like back away from that. I know there's some algicides that still have it that you could put in your fish tanks. Also large scale algicide for like ponds and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. But, like these industrial like koi ponds and stuff. I've seen some things for those, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't affect fish the same way it affects humans or mammals in general. It'll wreak havoc on invertebrates and amphibians definitely, but over time it would build up in the fish and it would kill them if they ate it.
Well, it's kind of like mercury now, yeah.
Yeah, well, they used to use arsenic to knock out fish in the aquaria trade, reef fish, because it stuns them. It doesn't kill them. It'll eventually kill them, but it doesn't kill them right away.
Huh.
So short. Yeah.
Today with poison. It's kind of weird too that we talk about like the peach pitch and apple seeds. And oddly, it ties into a really kind of messed up story when I was a kid. So I used to love to eat the insides of apples, like apple cores.
Yep.
And I would eat them all the time. And then my friend told me, and this was a friend that's kind of an idiot, that you can eat peach pits. And I was like, you can't eat peach pits. Peach pits are like super rock hard. I was like, no, just crack them open. So I would do that.
Yep.
And my granddad found me eating them one day and just slapped the shit out of me.
Yeah, I mean, it can kill. It can kill you if you have large doses. We had, I want to say maybe right around 10 years ago, there was a scare for what the hell was the name of the company? They make that green fuel. They were doing apples, and they were doing drop apples are usually what's used for cider, and they were grinding up the seeds and all, and they were ended up using more cores and more than usual, and the arsenic levels in the drinks were crazy high for consumption, so they had to be pulled off the shelves.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. I know that we had a big scare because my youngest had this thing for apple juice, and my wife's like, "Don't give her that anymore. They're gonna kill our children." I'm like, "That's not how it's gonna happen."
That's not how it works.
So going back to this person.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay to have an education on poisons. It's not that big of a deal. So
you never know, you might help someone.
Exactly.
And for the next day, we'll be doing thermite.
Tune in next time.
So, okay, so she would monologue. She'd poison their food, and then she'd monologue. This is how you're going to die. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, basically, and the reason that she did it was, well, there's her reason, and then there's the reason that people actually speculate. Mm-hmm. Her reason was she murdered these men because she wanted to be the last thing they ever saw. Mm-hmm. She was beautiful. She was attractive. You shouldn't live your life seeing anyone else after you've seen me.
That's rough.
Yeah. But people actually start to speculate that the reason she did this was because her husband cheated on her, and she felt that because these men were also cheating on their wives, they didn't deserve to live.
Thanks.
Right. Even though she was the other woman. Well, later on, Lorenzo, her son, stumbles across a gate in the basement in the wine cellar. Now, the gate was never locked before, but it is now. And after he broke through it, he went through another gate, which was also locked, and then a third gate, which was brand new. And he actually managed to take some form of stone or a pick and break through that, and stumbled across his mother's secret.
Oops.
And like any good son would do, he went to his mother and blackmailed her.
Nice.
Yeah, said, I'm going to want more money if you want me to keep quiet about what I found down there. Well, she didn't want to give him more money. He went to the police. The police didn't want to believe it. They were like, no, that wouldn't happen in my tiny town. You know, nothing like this occurs. She's a beautiful, rich, upstanding woman. Well,
nice.
Pretty convincing. Yeah, you know. So they go there. They go in the basement. They find an old woman that is being standing guard, and she is just an old servant that had been with Vera her whole life, and she is fighting them tooth and nail to keep them out of this room. They arrest her. They go into the room, and they find 35 zinc coffins that line the walls, and they all have names on them. They all have ages, and they're all filled with her husband and the lovers that she's lured to her den of death.
Now, the zinc coffin thing, though, the zinc is a preservative, the mummification for it?
Yes, it can be. It has a tendency to... Good.
No. Well, they had said that the bodies actually were in a state, not of so much of mummification, but they were kept much more... They did slow decomposition, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't... The thing with zinc is it doesn't... The electrons in zinc don't exchange readily with oxygen and water. That's why you use zinc in galvanizing steel. It keeps it from having an interaction. So any way that the body would be breaking down, it would keep oxygen out, it would keep a transfer of oxidation. So the body decomposition would slow, not to the point of mummification, because if it was sealed, you're not going to really have an environment that was conducive to mummification.
Right.
You have to have a drying agent. Yeah, it would definitely slow you down drastically.
Yeah. It's kind of like, what was that? Those monks in Tibet, or it may have been Japan. One of the monks orders, they would drink a type of resin from a tree.
Yep.
And that would actually kind of slow the process for them as they age or as they buried themselves alive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another one that they used. They ate nothing but lotus flowers and honey, so that they wouldn't have the antimicrobial properties of the honey would have, like, in their gut. The flora and fauna in your gut play a huge role in your decomposition.
All right.
I mean, your cells go through apoptosis or apoptosis when you die, so they do start to break down. But the flora and fauna in your gut play a huge role in your decomposition. That's why you blow and expand and eventually rupture, and it's actually an intriguing process to watch, or watch time lapse of. It's gruesome, but in a way, in its own way, it's beautiful. The way your body actually goes through a natural process.
Well, in a way, no. I see what you're saying too, because like when that sheriff in Montana did that time lapse footage of those dead cows to prove that there wasn't an alien coming down and dissecting them. It was just the natural decomposition process. Mm-hmm. It was fascinating to watch, and in its own way, it was kind of beautiful. No, I can see that.
It's just reclamation of the. I mean, it is gruesome. I'll give you that. It is gruesome, but it does have a certain beauty to it that you are returning to once you came. That's it. You break back down into base elements. Enough of science with Lobo.
Well, so far we've learned what kind of poisons to use, and we've also learned how to preserve the body once you kill the person. Why do I know these people? Yes. No, it's
whoever goes missing.
It's cool. It's totally cool. So let's finish up with this person thing, because it sounds like we're at the end of her. Thanks.
Oh yeah, well, we were kind of at the end of her. Yeah. So basically, her son goes forward, and they find all of these corpses, and the old woman eventually relayed more of what happened, and she told people that Vera would go down there and stay with them and talk to them for hours. And ultimately, she confessed. She was sentenced and convicted, and I believe that she became not only like a nursery rhyme, but a play in Romania, and is still like not so much enshrined in the prison where she was, but there were still like pictures of her all over the place down there. She's still famous to this day. And her killing spree didn't even start until, if I'm not mistaken, it was back in the 1904, something like that.
It was, yeah. That's staying power.
That's staying power, exactly. And like her own son, the part that gets me is like, I'm not going to rat on you, Mom, but I'm going to need some more allowance. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, man, this kid's going places.
Raising your kids right.
I mean, there's a bunch of coffins in the basement with remains in them, and you're going to ask for more money?
And his dad was a banker. I mean,
dude, he's got balls.
He does. And Vera was beautiful too. That was the thing. Is like there the pictures of her. She was gorgeous.
Yeah, and she wasn't like like you go you see these pictures of like small towns where like Jennifer is the prettiest in town. Well, that's because everyone else was butt ugly.
Jennifer's prison one. Her hair lip's only half as long as the others.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She was legitimately beautiful.
Oh yeah, but she was dropped.
That's. Ugh. Yeah. It makes you scratch your head. You're like, why?
Yeah. It's like you see that, like all that evil behind that pretty face. Like,
there's a lot of them.
Perfect place to hide it.
Well, let me read this one, because me and Brewster here were talking off the air. There's this one that I found of Linda Calvey. I believe her last name is Calvey. C-A-L-V-E-Y.
Yep.
Blonde and curvy Linda Calvey was quite a hot pocket. And there's a little link where you can click it and it'll actually take you to a site for hot pockets. Go figure. I don't know. Yeah, you don't want murderer, you want hot pocket. But anyways, quite a hot pocket when she was younger. She fell in with British gangsters and ranked at an estimated 1 billion British pounds, helping them pull off armed robberies. She was convicted of murder for shooting her former lover in the head after ordering him to kneel. A police officer who had dealt with Culvey remarked, "Every man she's ever been involved with is either in prison or dead." After being released from prison and suspected of killing at least 2 former male lovers, earning her infamy as a Black Widow, she married a third man in 2009. Sadistically playing on her reputation, Culvey had the audacity to wear a fake spider in her bridal headdress on her marriage to a man 15 years her senior. Of course, he died 5 years later. So, all right.
Yeah. The balls on that one.
Exactly. Where do you want to take us to next?
Oh man. Well, after her, we could always kind of tie into the Moores murders, which they're not. She's not exactly by herself. This is a killer couple.
Mm-hmm.
I think it still kind of fits the whole theme.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the thing I kind of found out more was, Myra Hindley and Ian Brady. Hindley is kind of fascinating because I kind of read up a bit more. I'm not super versed on her, but if I'm not mistaken, she has I would classify it more as an addictive personality.
Yeah. Kind of like Carla Molka.
Yeah. Well, a kid died in front of her. I was and he had been hit by a car. She was still young. She was still in high school. This kid was a lot younger, and this kid had wanted to grow up to be a priest. And if I'm not mistaken, Myra later on tried to basically dedicate her life to God because this kid died, and she felt that it was her duty to pick up his dream and carry it with her. And this eventually played in, I think, as to how Ian Brady was so, with his dominating personality, was able to rope her into 4 sexual assaults, dozens of actual assaults, and murders of young children.
Yeah, he was a dick.
Yeah, he was a dick. You know, he was not a very nice man.
You sound like Mr. Mackey. He was a dick, okay? Not a very nice man.
Killing kids is bad, okay? It's wrong.
You gotta wonder if some of these people wouldn't have gone down the roads they went down if they weren't influenced the way they were. You know?
If they never met. Yeah, if they had just been kept away from each other, would they ever have ended up that way? It's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't there another one? There was and this is kind of off topic, and I apologize.
We've got off topic tons of times tonight.
True.
We don't have a topic, damn it!
We're doing it live! But I believe that there was a killer couple, but it wasn't they weren't sexually motivated with each other, but they were 2 men who gravitated to a type of sadomasochism with their victims. And they themselves were, on their own, incapable of committing the crimes, but when they got together, they fed off of one another's psychopathy, and to the point where they were actually able to kidnap, assault, and kill, I think it was 5 families in total. And videotape most of it.
Who were they?
I'm trying to remember his name. It's killing me because yeah. But it's killing me because the guy got caught still in a car, or not still in a car, but stealing something from a store. He ran to his car, got arrested, got taken to the precinct for questioning, told everything that happened. Said, "Hey, I've got a compound with this other guy. You're going to find a dead woman in the backyard. There's a couple of barrels with the rest of the kids in the family. Also, I just took an arsenic tablet, so fuck y'all," and then died. Literally, right there in the police station. Was just like, "Oh, and later, suckers, gone."
Wow.
Yeah.
I just listened to a show about them.
Yeah, what was the guy's name? It's killing me. Because his partner went on to delay his trial by 20 years almost.
Yeah, because he kept doing
kept hiring and firing.
Yeah. I just listened to this show. Charles Ng.
Hey, there it is.
Charles Ng?
Yeah, NG. Charles Ng, and there's another guy. Harold. No, not Harold. Hold on. I know what it is. Leonard Lake. Lake and Ng.
Yes, Leonard Lake. That's him. That's the ones.
The torture bunker.
The torture bunker. Ooh,
okay.
I fascinate myself sometimes. Well, Lake was a huge guy. He was a behemoth of a man. And Lake
he was a lumberjack-looking dude, yeah.
Yeah, they built a bunker to hide their female victims and force them into submission. Ing and Lake built a cinder block bunker that served as a nightmarish prison. When the authorities searched the property, they discovered a false wall. Behind the wall was a 6.5 foot by 3.5 foot room with only a bucket and toilet paper inside. The room, which was also lined with one-way mirror, so someone on the other side could watch the captive within. Also had a list of rules.
It was messed up. They had night vision goggles. It was messed up. When the cops went in there, it was a horror show.
Here's the rules. They had a list of rules posted on the wall. I must always be ready to service my master. I must be clean, brushed, and made up with my cellmate. I'm going to keep my cell neat. I must never speak unless spoken to, unless in bed. I must never look my master in the eye, but must keep my eyes downcast. Rule number 3, I must never show my disrespect, either verbally or silent. I must never cross my arms or legs in the presence in front. Oh, okay, in front. These are blurry, so I'm having a hard time.
Here you go.
In front of my body or clench my fist unless eating. Must always keep my legs parted. I think that says legs parted. Or lips parted. I must be obedient completely, and in all things, I must obey immediately and without question or comment. Rule number 5, I must always be quiet when locked in. It says be quiet. It looks like it says requiet. Be quiet when locked in my cell. Rule number 6, I must remember to obey any additional rules told to me. I must understand that my disobedience, any faith, I can't read the other one because it's too blurry, or annoyance caused by me to my master will be grounds for punishment. Yeah.
Yeah, they were some messed up dudes.
Lake committed suicide by swallowing 2 cyanide capsules he had taped to the collar of his shirt. He died on June 6, 1985.
The crazy thing is he must retape those to his shirt like every day, knowing every day he might use them.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, he had it going down. I mean, the guy he did not want to get caught, and he literally left Ing out to dry. And Ing was a military guy.
Yeah, they were both moved from the Marines.
Military.
Yeah.
Like, no joke. These guys were hardcore.
In his late teens, Leonard Lake joined the Marines and did 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. He never saw any combat. He was ultimately discharged after psychiatric evaluation found him to be suffering from schizoid personality disorder. It would turn out that being forcefully removed from the military was an accomplishment he shared with his future partner, Charles Ing, who looks like Kim Jong-un. I'm so Ronri.
Why is everyone so fucking stupid?
Ing was also a Marine, though his stint in the service was even less successful than Lake's. How do you become less successful to a schizoid personality disorder? After
he didn't fit in well.
Yeah, after being caught for stealing weapons, Ing was sentenced 3 years in Leavenworth prison. Prior to doing time, Ing had already met Lake via correspondence through a survivalist magazine, and upon his release, met up with his new friend and began their murderous endeavors. How do you meet up with somebody and have that conversation? Hey, I'm really into going and killing people. How about you? Yeah, I am too. Let's build a bunker in our basement.
You ever wore a man's skin? Just throwing that out there.
What's that?
Yeah. Well,
you just type onto like Craigslist. Anybody else like wearing people's skin? Give me a call.
That happens though.
See, that's the thing. I mean, the scary thing is that magazine, the survival magazine that they met through. I used to subscribe to a survival magazine.
Why am I not surprised?
And the guy who got me involved in that is, at the moment, he's down in Florida, but he also served in Vietnam. He was a linguist. He's nuts. He's also a gun writer, and I mean he's an accomplished author. But I mean, we'd sit and talk about stuff like into the wee hours of the morning. It was good stuff. I mean, it's interesting. We never talked about wearing people as suits, but
given time.
I mean, give it time. Yeah, a couple of beers in, the skin starts coming off.
Work up to it.
Yeah, it's not something you really ease into, I don't think.
No. You don't throw that out on the first date. Yeah, that's a second or third date kind of conversation.
Totally.
Yeah. But like, it's weird. We talked about the rules too, and that it sparked me. And I remember David Parker Ray's audio tapes.
Oh my God.
How he would play those in the toy box. And I'm just like, oh, his voice was so monotone and so chilling.
Oh my God!
Stuff that he talked about.
This is how they were caught. They were ultimately brought down by shoplifting. Beyond his penchant for sadistic cruelty and murder, Charles Ng was also a compulsive thief. One afternoon in 1985, he and Lake went to a nearby hardware store to replace a broken voice that had been used to torture their victims. How do you break a voice torturing somebody? Ng was spotted shoplifting.
You don't want to know.
Yeah, really, shoplifting by one of the store's employees and fled. Lake then attempted to pay for the device, but authorities had already been called, and they arrived and found a .22 revolver with a silencer, illegal in California, in the pair's vehicle, which had also been stolen from one of their victims. Lake was arrested immediately, and Ng managed to evade authorities and slip into Canada, where he avoided trial for years. So the guy also carried a .22 with a silencer on it, which seems, it's kind of like, here's my BB gun, and I've got a silencer on it. I guess, I don't know, a .22 you can still mess somebody up pretty bad with a .22. If it, you know.
That's the assassin's choice.
Yeah.
Bounces off the back of the skull, but not hard enough to pierce through it and destroys the brain. Yeah.
Well,
rattles around in there like Pac-Man.
The education that I'm getting today from you guys is incredible.
Sorry?
The thing with Lake, and the thing with Lake that fascinated me was him and Ng both kind of completely skipped the serial killer cycle. They were always on the hunt.
Yeah, well, see, there's different thoughts about that, though. They think that Ng, during Vietnam, may have killed people while he was over there.
Oh, okay. You think he started his whole thing in the army?
Yeah, they think that they may have killed. I mean, when you're over there, it's sad to say, but if a local woman or a prostitute in the area disappears, there's nobody losing any sleep over it, unfortunately. I mean, the families.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how valid that theory is, but I mean, they say the same thing about Arthur Shawcross. So I mean, who knows? Maybe that's a running thing.
And then it says on here, this is also, I'm getting all this off of Ranker, by the way. When Lake was arrested, he was immediately interrogated by authorities about the gun, the stolen car, and the missing man that had been stolen from. Recognized that he was in dire situation, Lake asked for a glass of water and took his first moment alone to write a short note, and then removed 2 cyanide pills from under his lapel, which he always kept on him for such an occasion, and swallowed them, leading to his death a few days later. So he didn't die real quick. He took a few days to die.
Oh, he didn't. Well, he got. Why.
But he checked out. Like he was just
he was useless at that point. Yeah, absolutely.
When puzzled authorities searched Lake's property thereafter, the magnitude of his and Ng's crimes quickly revealed themselves. Though he had initially fled to Canada, Ng was extradited to California in 1991 after getting caught shoplifting in Calgary. Did it again
with the shoplifting.
He was successfully avoided his trial for 8 years, one of the longest legal proceedings in California history, but he was eventually found guilty of 6 counts of murder and sentenced to death. He remains on death row in San Quentin State Prison to this day.
Fascinating stuff. Like, especially with the fact that he couldn't stop the shoplifting. Like, that's what ruined you the first time.
I'm trying to see here.
Yeah, hold it back, bud.
45 pounds of human bone fragments were recovered from their property.
Yeah. And then I think some of the audio tapes, and then I've seen and this has just been through trolling through the courtroom evidence cases of how they talk to the women. They would often tell like the mothers, because one of their big ones was Lake and Ng basically broke into a family home and kidnapped the entire family. Like they kidnapped the dad, the mom, and the young baby, and they used the baby's life to make the mom do what they wanted. But the baby was already dead. Yeah, they had already killed the baby and the husband. Yeah. And like to listen to how they talked on the tape and just a few short minute clips they had up that I could find, it was chilling. I mean, they were talking to her the way you would talk to somebody when you order a coffee and you want to have just a polite chat.
Soulless.
They were, soulless, completely. It was horrifying.
They believed the nuclear holocaust was near and needed sex slaves to repopulate the earth. The abduction...
That was Lake.
The abductions... Torture and murders carried out by Ng and Lake stemmed from their shared delusional belief that the world was at the brink of a nuclear holocaust. The men believed that in the aftermath of the annihilation of the human race, they would be charged with the task of repopulating the world with the aid of their sex slaves. Of course, the job fell on these guys. Who else would get,
See, they're not breeders. That's not good stock. They're broken.
You don't kill them. Like, that's the thing, is you want to keep them alive. What are y'all doing?
The plan was referred to as Operation Miranda, and one of Lake's recovered diary entries provided a snapshot of this deranged thoughts on the subject. And then it's got in there as notes. 1983 was the year the Miranda started and abandoned in Humboldt County and restarted here. M is a serious underground construction meant to 1. Provide physical setting for my sexual fantasies, and 2. Provide physical security for myself and my possessions, and 3. Provide limited protection from nuclear fallout. No, dude, this shed looks like this
cobbled together from trash.
Operation Miranda would later be scrapped as the two men could not stop their fantasies from escalating to murder. Sorry, the world's going to come to an end, but we're too busy killing people, so let's just scrap that idea and just keep killing people. All right, I'm down. That works.
I need to keep you alive for the whole future of humanity, but have you ever worn someone's skin before?
Have you worn a guy's skin before? Have you? No.
It's very free.
Never rub another man's rhubarb.
Oh, all right. Well, we've been going for...
Okay. If you want to listen to a coverage of this, there's a podcast called the Serial Killer Podcast, and it's by a Norwegian guy, and he covers the Miranda murders in 2 parts, and it was really good. It dropped in December of last year.
Is it really good?
I don't know if it's on Libsyn or not.
But you could probably find it through any podcast aggregator, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
They're called the Serial Killer Podcast. It's one guy.
Hold on. Yep, nope, I found it. It has its own website. Perfect.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. I mean, he covers a bunch of stuff. He covered Velma just recently, like within the last week or so. Velma Barfield. Yeah. He did the first part. He's going to be dropping the next part soon. So I can't wait.
The pictures they have of Aang makes him look horrifying.
Doesn't it though?
My God! That's the kind of guy you see in an alley, but hey, God, you got some change on you?
Yeah, dude. Let me wash your window. How about no?
Jeez. I was like, I'll let you wash my window, but I'm thinking it might get dirtier, bud. My God.
Right?
Well, we've been doing this for about an hour now, with all kinds of crazy things going on in the background, trying to derail the show.
We completely went off the Moore's murders.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't think anybody's going to care. With the fact that we were actually able to do a show this week with everything going on that happened the way that it did, also with the audio issues that I'm having right now, I'm amazed we actually pulled something off. So anyways, before we wrap it up, this is where I always give the guests a chance to promote what they're doing. So, Brewster, go ahead and talk about where your website is, where people can find you. You're also part of our Facebook page, and you do post on our Facebook page now as well. So, go ahead and have at it.
All right. Well, I'm going to do the 10-second spiel here. You can go to rabrewster.com. I like to focus a lot on creature features, cryptids. I've been starting to do a bit more human monsters, some true crime stuff. I'm also kind of working towards getting some of my short stories out there. If you want, you can tune in a bit to Dustland Radio on YouTube.
That's really good.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Yeah.
I have it as on my podcast aggregator.
Sweet. I'm glad you guys enjoy
really
it.
Good.
Stop. That's high praise. Go check it out, please. But yeah, actually, if you come onto the Facebook page, I'll probably be posting a lot more stuff there. So
now your website is RA no periods, because I was trying to look it up earlier and it was taking me someplace else. It's RA Brewster.
You about gave me an aneurysm. Yeah, it's RA Brewster.
No dots in the RA. No. Just RA Brewster.
No dots. All right.
Yeah.
RA Brewster.
So
because there was a guy I posted on Reddit. Oh, again, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I posted on Reddit a link, and I like to share a lot there. Like if you're ever on the cryptid forums, if you're ever hanging out in serial killers, you'll probably see a couple of posts from me. This dude completely copied my entire article and put it into the comment section because he got aggravated because of on the mobile app, there's a thing that asks you to subscribe to my mailing list. And he was just like, I can't be fucked. So I'm just going to put this up for everyone to read because screw that. And I'm just like, please, sir, stop. Please don't.
Nice.
Well, yeah, when you said something was wrong with the site, I was like, oh God, no.
No, I typed it in R.A. Brewster, and it put me someplace else. It's just rabrewster.com. And that's where I found you. I found you on the cryptids page on Reddit. And then I ran across you in the serial killers. And I was like, I'm going to contact this guy and get a hold of him and see if he's interested in coming on here and doing this.
Super glad you did, because you guys are great.
Yeah, we try. We try. Anyway.
We like having you on.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun when it works.
When it works.
When things work. Yeah, as always, thanks for coming on here. You know, it's barring all these huge amounts of technical issues aside, it's always fun having you on and talking to you. And you're a big hit. You're one of the people really liked you being on the show. Like, we got a lot of positive feedback by having you on here. So it's, you know, it's like, yeah, we'll do this again. And that's how it all came about, because every year at around this time of year, usually we try to aim for Valentine's Day is when we do our crazy true crime stuff. And it usually involves women killing people in sadistic ways. So it was like, hey, you got anybody? Yeah, let's try this. And that's how it all fell together. So
yeah, it fell together really well. Yep.
Thanks for coming on here and doing this again. We appreciate it, man.
Hey, thanks for having me around. It's good stuff.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'd say that was a pretty successful broadcast.
Want to get in contact with the show or listen to back episodes? It's easy. Go to www.projectarchivist.com. On the right side of the page, you'll find links to our archives, as well as links on how to get onto our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. If you want to leave a voicemail for us, it's 734-681-0459. Yes, we do listen to all of them. Or if you want to talk to Lobo directly, you can call 203-212-9975. Yes, that will in fact put you in touch with his cell phone. If he's available, he will take your call and talk to you. If you're just looking to send us an email, you can do that at projectarchivist@gmail.com. Don't forget to look for us on iTunes under the podcast section, or you can stream us right to your phone with the Stitcher Android app for free.
Hi, I'm Desmond.
And I'm Shalom.
And we're the Not-Historians. Just two guys with big mouths and little historical knowledge who
take on pop history and everyday history things.
It's so close to learning that you just might.
Like the fact that Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Well, he composed it. However, it was physically written by Thomas Matlack, clerk to the Secretary of the Second Continental Congress.
Boom. Did your mind just explode? Available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Podbean, and other podcast catchers.
You can find us online at Not Historians on Twitter and on Facebook.
Now enjoy the rest of your show.
Starting over again. So, that was Brewster, and my audio levels are all over the place. Actually, both of ours are. I don't quite know what it is. It's got to be the system. And as I was saying before I realized that we weren't recording, is I'm so anal about how I put stuff together and how it sounds and how things work that when things go out of control like this, I just basically sit here and chew every nail off of every finger that I've got, kind of deal, whatever. So anyways,
sure.
Hope that worked out. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as best as we could put it together.
This is what you get.
Big shout outs to our boy Daniel Brown over in the UK, because he sent us packages this week. What did he send you? I saw what he sent you, but what did he send you? I got
3 true crime magazines that are not available here, and 5 bounty bars, which are now almost completely gone.
We had bounty bars come into, we got this, like, Christmas package of candy. Maybe it was Halloween. I don't remember what it was, but there was bounty bars in that, and I'd never seen them before. I didn't know.
What, are they the American, or are they from overseas?
I don't know. I'd never seen bounty bars up until we got them. They were good. They were like coconut. They reminded me of eating Mounds.
Like Mounds.
Yeah, Almond Joy Mounds.
Chocolate's a little different.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. So he sent you that, and then he sent me a book called Weird War I, Intriguing Items of God, I can talk. I can read. I can do all of this stuff.
Yes.
No, I can't.
I can do so many things.
It's called reading. Top to bottom, left to right. Group words together as a sentence.
Weird.
Like my own ass.
I can ride my bike without no handlebars.
Yep.
Weird War I, Intriguing Items and Fascinating Feats from the First World War. And it's just all of these really crazy contraptions and bizarre stuff that they did in World War I that there's just weird stuff in here. Luminescent sea lions, stuffed pigs, pigeon parachutes, bulletproof Bibles, which I can understand that because they just keep the Bible in their pocket. So if the Bibles were bulletproof, yeah, the idea was if it would take the bullet for you.
Yeah, guess what? They don't work.
Tickle sticks, patriotic toilet paper, giant periscopes, trench wallpaper for the trenches.
Of course.
Paper pants.
You have to have that You have to be a fancy bitch. You have to have wallpaper in your trench.
Hedgehog mascots, undercover girl guides, and fake trees. I might actually, after I dig through this, I've got this inclination to try to find this guy and talk to him. The problem is I think he's over in the UK, and us doing shows with people in the UK is a pain in the ass.
Talk to anybody in the UK.
Yeah, but there's timing issues because time's not the same everywhere. So I think the UK is 5 hours ahead of us, 4 hours ahead of us. It's the same reason I haven't invited the Bloody Murder podcast on here, because they're a great show, but they're in Australia. So they're how many hours ahead of us? I don't remember.
Today. Yesterday is today.
Yeah, I think they're 10 hours ahead of us.
No, it's more than that. It's their, hold on a second. Their time, today is already there yesterday.
So when will it be tomorrow?
Right now.
How soon is now? Hey, we've done this joke a lot of times.
A lot.
It never gets old.
No.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up because I've got a lot of production work to do, even though by the time you guys have heard this, the production work has already been done. So how soon is now? Yada, yada, yada. Hopefully we can have our shit together by next week, because the guest that couldn't make it last week is supposed to make it on next week. It's going to be a matter if we can have things up and running on our end properly.
12:38 p.m. tomorrow.
So it's 12:38 tomorrow already in Australia. But what? Yeah, but Australia's got what? 2 time zones? 3 time zones? It's a big continent.
But the fourth one is Christmas Island. So it's Kingston. Right now in Kingston, it's 12:38. It's 8:38 p.m. here on the 10th of February. It's the afternoon tomorrow, the 11th. And it's noon in Adelaide, and it's 9:38 a.m. in Perth, and it's 8:38 a.m. in Christmas Island.
So setting up a show with somebody in Australia shouldn't be that hard then. If we did it like if we set the show at 9 o'clock, it'd be like, like 1 o'clock there.
It depends on where they are. If
yeah, but still, it's not like
Island, then it's 12 hours. There's 12 hours difference. If not, if we're getting someone from Kingston or Adelaide, then we're looking at, 16 hours difference.
Yeah. Who did we have on here from Australia?
Yeah, what?
Who did we have on here from Australia at one time?
Brent. We talked to Brent.
Brent, that's who it was. Yeah, and Brent was on here, but that was like pulling teeth because it was the time difference for him.
And then Daz is in New Zealand.
Yeah,
his time is completely different.
People are like, "What the hell are they talking about?"
Doesn't matter. It's our show.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Hopefully, we can pull this off next week. We've got a week to get our act together. So that's it. By the time this drops, I think Valentine's should be right around the corner. And have a safe and happy Valentine's Day. Don't try to kill your lover if they can't have sex with you 3 times in a row. All that stuff. Don't poison anybody. Don't strychnine anybody. Arsenic, lead, coffins, zinc, all that shit. Just be cool to one another. Buy each other chocolate and flowers. Make babies. Peace.
What? Make babies.
This is Richard from Detroit.
From Connecticut. What Roe said, but not as strange. I don't know. VH Splash. Woohoo!
Peace.
Bye.
get out for a bit. 'Cause I'm feeling all faded and paling, but I'm begging you to drag you down with me to keep the lesson in. Yeah, I like being mad, like I like